For this project, we are going to make a 2-point perspective building. So what you're going to need is a pencil, some kind of an eraser. You can use an eraser off a pencil or a larger eraser, and a ruler. If you do not have a ruler at home, you can use anything that has a straight edge, so the edge of a book, the edge of another piece of paper. If you can't find a straight edge, you can always just freehand it. It just makes it a little bit more difficult. So the first thing we're going to make is the horizon line. So the horizon line is where the sky and the ground meet. This is going to be horizontally on your paper. Make sure your lines are light. We were doing a lot of erasing, so if you draw your lines too dark, you're going to have those kind of shadows on your picture later. So make sure you're drawing light enough that you can erase it. So after we draw our horizon line, we're going to make our 2 vanishing points. So you're going to have one on the left and one on the right. You want to make sure they're on the edge or near the edge of the paper. If you make them too close together, your city is going to be really, really small, and you have all this extra space you won't know what to do with. So it's easier if you put your vanishing points further out. After you put your vanishing points down, we're going to make the corner of our building. The corner of our building is going to be a vertical line in the middle. Make sure you come down from the top of your paper and up from the bottom of your paper. This determines the height of your building. If you go too close to the top or the bottom, your building is going to look like it is smashed. So we're going to try to avoid that by leaving a lot of space at the bottom and a lot of space at the top. So after you do this, you're going to start connecting your lines to your vanishing point. So what we're going to first do is make a large rectangular prism. So you're going to start at the bottom of this line and connect to this vanishing point. So my lines that I'm making this direction need to go to this vanishing point. So I'm going to make sure my ruler is on the bottom of my line. I'm going to move it up and make sure it's at my vanishing point, making sure they're on the same side of the ruler, and then I'm going to draw a line. So you're going to do a lot of repeating for this project, so we're going to do the same thing on the top. Line up at the top of our vertical line and our vanishing point. Draw a straight line. So what you do on this side, you're going to flip it and do it on the other side until you have a giant diamond. So now we're going to make this into a rectangular prism, like I mentioned earlier. So on this side of your vertical line, you're going to make a line that is parallel to the center. So as we talked about before, parallel means that they would never intersect if they continued. So this right here would not be a parallel line. So you want to make sure that you have the same distance here as you have down here. So you're going to draw a vertical line and another vertical line on this side. And then we're going to do some erasing. So grab your eraser. You're going to erase this line right here between the dot and the edge of your rectangular prism. Same thing on this side. And now our rectangular prism is overlapping our horizon line, so we can erase the part of the horizon line that is inside of our rectangular prism. Alright, now we're going to split this building, this box, into more than one building. Because our goal in this is to have kind of a city, so you want to have more than one building. If you make your lines further out here, you can add more buildings, depending on what your ability level is, but this will split up into at least 3 buildings. So next, you're going to add 2 more vertical lines. It doesn't matter what side you start on. We're going to do the same thing on both sides. Again, making sure they are parallel to the center line. That is very important to make this look realistic. Now here's where things get a little bit tricky. So any line that, as I said, is going to the left needs to go to this vanishing point. So when we make our alleys that are going into our buildings, or into the between our buildings, we are going to have to line the top of this up with the vanishing point over here. Now you do not need to make a complete line all the way over. You can start where these 2 lines connect, where this line and that line connect. Draw a small line, and when you hit this other line, stop. And then do the same thing on the bottom. grab your pencil, your eraser, erase this line between these two lines, and now you have two buildings. Now we're going to repeat that same step on the other side. Again, one line here, and one line there. And again, line further out where it connects to the diagonal line here. Line it up with your vanishing point on the other side of the paper. Draw a small line, stop when you hit this line. Same thing on this side. So now we have our 1, 2, 3 rectangular prisms that we're going to turn into buildings. Now our last step for this part of the project is to add a sidewalk. So you're going to decide how far you want your sidewalk to come down. You're going to start at your vanishing point. Again, making sure the edge of my ruler is on that vanishing point, or this sidewalk will not make sense with this picture. Draw a diagonal line, stop there, and then do the same thing on the other side. Now what you want to kind of do with this is make sure this distance is about the same over here, because right now everything's pretty even. If you change that, it's going to look a little bit off. You're going to stop, take your eraser, any overlap you can erase. Now we're also going to make it feel like there's another sidewalk on the other side of this road. Again, you're going to start on your vanishing point. Decide how thick you want your road, what would look right. I think mine would be about this thick. Draw a line. And you're going to scoot it over and draw another line. This is the side of the sidewalk that faces the road, and this is the other side. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. And in the middle of the road we can add our lines. Now you understand that things are getting further away as they get further towards the vanishing point. So when you make these lines, you want to make smaller lines that are further away and then bigger ones closer. Now you can make these into rectangles if you want. You would add two sides, but we're just going to do a singled dashed line. So longer, further apart, and as you get closer to the vanishing point, they're going to get smaller and then closer, and to the point where you're making just dots. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now I would stop about right here with your line. Usually a crosswalk here. Lines don't usually intersect like that in the real world, so we're going to try to make this look like the real world. We're going to try to make our lines down the center also. So larger, further apart. As we get further away, they get smaller and smaller. That is where we're going to stop for this part of the lesson. For the next part, we're going to talk about making the windows and the doors and then adding the lines in the sidewalk. Good luck and have fun.